Why do your New Year's resolutions fail? We're about to find out right now. Hey guys, welcome back to Successify, where we take a look at the different obstacles that are getting in the way of your success and then talk about how to overcome them. Today I want to talk about a big obstacle, a big failure, I guess you could say, that people encounter every single year around this time. We're going to talk about New Year's resolutions and why they fail. Because we're only a couple of days into the new year, but studies have shown that about 50% of you have already given up on your New Year's resolutions. You know those ones that on New Year's Eve you were so excited to set and you were going to go get them and this was going to be your year? Well, about half of people have already bailed on those. Now for the other half of you that think you're probably safe, by the time we get to the end of the month, 70% of people will have bailed on their New Year's resolutions. And for the other 30% of you that think you're safe past January, by the end of March, 90% of people have given up or not been able to accomplish their New Year's resolutions. And by the time we get to the end of the year, it's somewhere around 98 to 99%. So pretty much all of us are setting New Year's resolutions that aren't making it through the whole year. Something happens along the way. For some reason, we start to abandon them. Maybe we hit a little roadblock and then we just give up completely. So I want to talk about why that happens. Because I know I've been in the position where I get to the end of a year and I'm ready to set New Year's resolutions, and I could pretty much just take out the list from the year before and they would be the same resolutions. And it's a little bit depressing to see the same things on your list year after year after year. And the reason why people fail at New Year's resolutions isn't because they don't have good intentions. It's not because they aren't great goals that they've set for themselves. The real reason why people fail at them is because they don't feel passionate about those resolutions. They don't feel urgency. It doesn't come from a place really deep inside that is a need they have to have. And I can pretty much prove it. I mean, if you were on New Year's Eve, if you were visiting with your doctor and he said, hey, you need to lose 10 pounds in the next 2 months or you're going to die by March. That would be a pretty good motivator. Don't you think you would feel passionate about losing 10 pounds in the next few months? I'm pretty sure that we would all be able to lose that weight. Now, what if somebody said, hey, by the end of the summer, if you haven't made these changes to your life and the way that you treat your family, you're going to lose your entire family. Your spouse and your kids are going to leave and you're going to be left alone. Don't you think that would be motivation enough? Would you feel that enough that you would actually stick to some goals and make some changes? Of course you would. And so it's not for lack of good effort or good intent that we fail. It's for lack of finding something that we're truly passionate about and that we can link and feel it deep inside. So today I want to talk to you about a new technique, a different way of setting New Year's resolutions that I think will help out quite a bit. A few years ago, I was at a roundtable conference with a number of other business owners, and we were talking about setting goals, what we wanted to accomplish that next year. And one of them mentioned a concept called one word. And it's based on a book, which you can see right here, called One Word That Will Change Your Life. Now the question is, well, what's the word? I mean, if there's a whole book and there's one word that can change my life, what's the word? Well, probably the best way to think about it is if you remember the movie City Slickers, and you've got those guys that are off and they're doing their dude ranch, and there's that old surly cowboy, right, Curly. And Curly takes one of them aside at one point and he says, you know what the secret of life is? It's one thing. And surely, well, Billy Crystal, he wants to know, well, what's the thing? I need to know the one thing. And he says, well, that's what you've got to find out. And then later that night, Curly passes away in his sleep, doesn't wake up, and we're left wondering, well, what's the one thing? The message there was that there's one thing that's important to that person at that time, at that moment, that can help them to find happiness or success. But they have to find it. It has to come from them. It has to be one thing important to them. Well, this one word idea, this book, the one word, comes from that idea. The idea that there's one word out there, not a whole list of goals, not a whole paragraph or an essay of what you want to accomplish, but that there's one word out there that you could pick that could be your theme for the entire year. Something that you could rally behind, that you feel passionate about, that encompasses maybe all of your other goals that you were going to set anyway. Something that you want to become, where if you could think of that word and say, wow, if I could live that word every day, I would be happy, I would be successful, I would feel great about what I've accomplished. And so what I want to do today is take you through the process of how to discover your word. And then after discovering it, how to implement it into your life so that you can accomplish great things this year. If you scroll down below in the description, you can find links to the book, The One Word. I'm pretty sure once you've tried this process, you won't buy one book. You'll probably buy 4 or 5 of them to share with friends and family. That's what I did. I think to date, I've probably given it out 30 times to different people. You'll love the book. So there's a link down below. Also below, there's going to be a link to a worksheet. So everything that we talk about today in the video, you can download the worksheet, you can print it off, you can follow along. But it's basically the Cliff's Notes version, the guide of how you can discover your one word for this year. So finding your word is a 3-step process. The first step is called look in. That's where you're going to take some time. I would prefer to have you go somewhere where you're not distracted, you don't have kids all around you, you don't have work calling at you, but find a quiet place and sit down and start thinking about what are the things that you need in your life? What are some things that are missing from your life that you would like to have? Okay, and start writing them down. What are your needs, your internal needs? Then you're going to write down what's getting in the way. What are some obstacles? Maybe it's a certain friendship that drags you down, or maybe it's a bad habit that you don't like. Whatever it is, maybe it's your job. Maybe the job you have isn't what you want. What are the things getting in the way of you getting what you need? And then the third step in that process is to look in and decide what needs to go. What do I need to get out of my life to bring good things into my life? So the first step is to look in. What do I need? What's getting in the way? And what has to go? The second step in the process is called look up. Now, look up is where you will figuratively be looking up for inspiration about a word. Some people like to say a prayer asking for help in finding their word, or some people like to just meditate and think for a while. Whatever way you decide to do it, what you'll start to do is write down any ideas that come to you, any words that stick out in your mind. There's no good words, bad words, silly words, stupid, whatever it is, any word that comes to your mind, write it down on your list. It helps to look at the things that you wrote down in step 1. It helps to look at the New Year's resolutions you might have set for yourself. Take all those things into account and just start writing down some words. After a little while, you'll have a pretty long list. And I want you to look at those and then slowly start crossing ones out that you don't feel passionate about. The way to decide if it's something you feel passionate about is to look at each word and say, if I could live this word every day, I would be happy, I would be successful. If you don't feel good feelings inside, if you don't feel a tingle when you look at that word, cross it off. Go to the next word. Run through that process with each word until you get a couple that just really stand out. And then over the next couple of days, minutes, hours, whatever it is, one of those will start to bubble up in your mind. It'll start to be the one that you can't stop thinking about. When you find it, it's a pretty cool experience. You'll know it's your word, almost like it's been out there waiting for you the whole time. When you find your word, circle it. That's going to be your word, and start thinking about different ways that you're going to incorporate that into your life. Because that's what step 3 is. In the book, it's called look out. I like to call it look forward. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It's what are you going to do with that word from here on out? Because if you just find your word and then you tell yourself, great, I found my word, that's what I'm going to be about this year. You might accomplish a couple of things, but chances are you're probably going to slowly let it fade as the year goes on. So in look forward, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take your word, and I want you to decide on at least 3 places where you're going to post your word. I think a bathroom mirror is an excellent place. Probably your desk at work is a great place. Maybe by your bedside. Places that you can post that word where you're going to see it, and it's going to be a constant reminder. This is my theme for the year. This is what I'm all about this year. With my family, we like to, every year we get blank canvases, and the kids decorate the canvas however they want. They write their word on it, they color it, they do anything that's meaningful for them so that they can see their word. And then we hang it up in their bedroom so they see it every morning. I've done the same thing with myself. I do the same thing with my staff at work. It's a great reminder, it's a great tradition that we have every year to pick our word and to start displaying it. The more often you see that word, the more often it's going to sink in, the deeper impact it's going to have. I promise you that as soon as you've selected your word and start posting it everywhere, you're going to find situations every day where that word is put to the test. It happens almost immediately. And if you have your word in your mind, you'll be able to think, you know what, normally I would react this way, but my word this year is integrity. And so I'm going to act this way. So you've already changed a behavior. You've already found your word you're passionate about, and it's already making a change in your life. And guess what happens? When you do it once, you get that great feeling of accomplishing a goal, which then helps you to accomplish another one and another one and another one. To where you get to the end of the year and you look back and you can see all of these great things you've done because you focused on this one word. I promise you that as you go through this process, it is worth every second that you put into it. It's my favorite goal setting technique that I've ever come across, and I've been teaching this for a long time. So take the time, find the one word that's meant for you, post it everywhere, and then go out and live it. I promise you it'll be worth it. Thank you so much for visiting with us today. I'm super excited for you to find your word. If you find your word and you want to let us know about it, please post it in the comments below. I would love to hear your word, love to hear why it's meaningful for you. If you have any trouble working through the process and you need some help, you can always email me. The information is also down below. I'd love to help you out.